Hey guys, new video here. So this is going to be the week 2 roundup for Blight League and our team and what happened and what's happening next. So to start out with some bad news, guys. The team is no more. We're going solo. That's it. We've split. You know, but all good things must come to an end. But here I'm going to explain like the reasons behind what we're doing and what's to happen next. So to put it straight, especially the second half of this week, we were kind of slacking on the currency generating. We weren't really having. I was all right, but Jafanos wasn't having too much fun because he didn't feel like he wanted to invest into his character at the time because he was still working towards achieving that mirror. And so it was like spending the money on the character wasn't really appropriate at the time, he felt. Similar to me as well, like I'm using this is like a 9 chaos weapon, right? Stuff like this. So I can understand. So yeah, it wasn't really enjoying playing the game at that time. And if we were almost... Basically, we could have bought the mirror on Friday. Like we could have just bought whatever the cheapest mirror was available on Friday. But then we would have had no money, like literally no money, because we would have turned all our exalts, all our currency, all our things that we had for sale. We had to liquidate it all to get the headhunter. And then we'd have nothing, and then we'd have to carry on doing the currency grinding specifically. And he wasn't having too much fun, and I can understand. I was slowing down as well, to be honest. So, yeah, we could have bought one at about 90 to 100x, but we chose not to since we got no funds, basically. So, the currency generation was still positive. We're still gaining money, but the amount that we were gaining was the same as the amounts that we were gaining the previous week, but the cost of the mirror is double than what it was, so we had to be gaining double what we were, which we weren't. So we were still doing the same flips, we were still doing the same crafts, and making 0.2 of an exalt in the first 3 or 4 days of the league is pretty big because it can get you to a lot of things. But making 0.2 exalts in week 2 doesn't really get you that much closer to a mirror because you have to do a lot more 0.2 exalt trades. So it didn't really feel that much satisfying. It felt a lot more harder work. So we are early currency generation, specifically for the first mirror. It was pretty strong, I felt. Well, reasonably strong for people who didn't really know what they were doing. But then what happened, knowing how to invest from that point onwards was our biggest hurdle that we couldn't overcome. Or at least we couldn't really make a concrete decision on. We had discussions about, should we buy this? Should we invest in this? Should we do this? Should we do that? And we couldn't really make a concrete decision because neither of us felt 100% on something. So yeah, we've learned a lot about early league currency generation and playing the market. I've not done this before, and I actually learned quite a lot about certain items and how to fund currency generation early on. But knowing what I know now, going into the next league, we could easily get the mirror in half the time, I feel. Just doing exactly what we've done the same, but now we could do it from the get-go. I could find the flips from day 1 rather than doing it at day 3 or 4 like I started to, so we could do those much sooner. We can find the certain crafts and maybe make a couple of the early crafts much sooner. But we got a buy order for 35 exalts. Well, I set buy order up for a mirror, and I got a buy order of 35 exalts on day number 3 or 4. It's 3 or 4, it depends on how you calculate it. But we're about 8 exalts short at that time. So if we knew about the certain flips, knew about the certain crafts earlier, we probably would have been able to buy that mirror at 35 exalts. Then we'd be able to buy the second mirror later in the week or the start of week 2. Because they would have been about 60, maybe 70 exalts at the time when we bought the second one. And we would have been able to achieve that, I feel. So yeah, our biggest hurdle was the mid to late game investing So it means like we could generate plenty of chaos, like selling all the maps. The very early game stage was doing the chaos recipe, but then later on it was selling maps because you get so many red maps, you sell them 2, 3, 4, 5 chaos each. And then I found a nice way to buy exalts below the market, so we could turn our chaos into exalts fairly easily. But then we just ended up having exalts sitting around and not really doing anything. And currency sat in your stash is not generating anything. You know, we had to come up with ways to turn this exalt into more exalts. You know, craft stuff with it, like find items that will appreciate in value over time. Find some certain flips which are higher priced, and those are really hard to do. So it's kind of hard to get to turn our exalts into anything. So we ended up sitting with 20, 30, 40 plus exalts just sitting there doing nothing, and it's not doing anything because the 40 exalts sat in your stash will still be 40 exalts the next day. Whereas if you could invest into something, the 40 could be in one day, and the next day you could have 50. You know, you could just turn it into some more. But I feel once we can figure out that issue, I think we could do a lot more. I think we can generate a lot more currency. So if anyone's got any suggestions for how to figure out with that, then you know, please let me know. So that's pretty much going to be it for the pure focus on just currency generation, and you know. So now it's going to be, now we're able to spend. I'm never going to spend the mirror. I'm saying it now. It's sitting in my stash till the end of the league. So I don't actually have a mirror. It's just here. So I actually only have like about 20 exalts right now. We split like the raw exalts. So Jafanis got a huge chunk of the monies because most of what we were generating there was for the second mirror, which was going to be towards his. So I felt like he should get more of the split, because obviously I was never going to split the mirror. So he got everything that he currently had. He just kept all of that. I'm not bothered about splitting that, and I just halved the amount of exalts that I had and gave him half. They're in like a stash tab, so he can collect them whenever he wants. So yeah, that's it for the currency generation. So now on to me, because you know I'm the important one here. So the future of the league now we can start spending stuff, is looking at this character for a start. This is the it's a pure lightning wild striker. It uses it's a berserker because I just wanted to go as fast as possible, and it uses the combat focus, the newly changed combat focus. So it now applies to wild strike. So I can lock out the fire, I can lock out the cold, and I'm just doing lightning. And it's basically just Arc 2.0 but melee. It has twice the range as casted Arc does, but it doesn't have the extra change that Arc does. But then you have a Helm enchant where it changed 6 times, so it can clear packs very well, especially combined with an impulsor. Clear wise, it's very, very good. I would say it's fantastic actually. The issue I'm having is single target issues. I'm relying on a double strike, which is okay, but it's not the best. I can actually feel that it's not working too well. So I'm not sure what I need to do to upgrade the single target issues. Might need to just have big weapons, my double multi-modded weapons. I have to figure out the best ways to make those. That's a lot of figuring it out. So yeah, this is a really good mapper, but I need to be able to kill Uberelder. I want to be farming some Uberelder and some Shaper, you know, just do some bossing and doing some good delve. This is not too bad doing playing in delve. To be honest, it's quite nice in delve. But when it gets much deeper down, I feel that my single target is going to lack, specifically fighting certain rare mobs as well. And being in melee is kind of a bit spooky down in real deep delves. And what I try and get, you know, just try and push some delve a bit. I've never really pushed delve past when you hit the level 83 area. I just go sideways at 83, so maybe we'll go a bit deeper that time. So that leads me on to the next build, which I'll be making fairly soon. I'm not giving up on the Wild Striker. This is just going to be a nice mapper, so we might bounce between this one and then the next thing. If the next thing is insanely good to play while mapping as well, we might play that. So it's just going to be used to kill Shaper and Uberald and just push some delve pretty much. It's going to be a spicy one. I'm testing out some interesting mechanics which might all fail and might have to, you know, go back to basics. But, you know, we're going to test some stuff out and see how it goes. And then after that, we're then just going to make some weird builds, some odd builds, you know. Find some mechanic, some weak mechanic, find some weaker skills and just, you know, see if they can become viable and to what extent they become viable at. So that's going to be it. Also, just to go over, because there were some changes to the Blighted maps for this league. My opinion is, and this will always be the case, if you enjoy the content, so if you enjoy the tower defense, you enjoy, you know, opening all the chests at the end and clicking the loot, I would definitely run your Blighted maps. If you only care about making money and you only care about the value, I would probably say sell your Blighted maps. Because the price of the Blighted map is eventually going to become equal to the amount that you get out of it. So if you get an Exalt drop, that's pretty much what you're going to have to rely on, is getting an Exalt drop to get your monies back, especially doing higher like red tier maps. They're in like the hundreds of chaos. So they're very expensive to run, so you have to guarantee an Exalt, and obviously you can't guarantee an Exalt. But if you enjoy the content, then do it. I enjoy the content, so we've got a bunch of maps here. So I'm just going to save up some more maps and we're going to just run some more. And so yeah, that's going to be it. I'm enjoying the league. I think I'm going to play for a while. Got a few more builds lined up. Say we got the boss killer, Delver to do next, and then some bunch of meme stuff. So yeah, hopefully everyone else is enjoying the league, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye bye.